Good morning, American Jiu-Jitsu. This is tape three, okay, for second degree black belt, what we refer to as NIDAN. And the category we're going to be teaching here today is what we refer to as NIDAN Ippons. Ippon means one-step fighting. This is the person coming at you with that brawl, that straight punch, that street type of fighter that's coming at you in a certain way. And we're going to show you how to change levels on part of this category and utilize technique to bring the person down to the ground. Okay, we have some sweeps and throws, and we also have some changing of the levels when you might either lose balance or you might need to just change your levels because of the person's size. Okay, we're not too big on going down to the ground unless it's necessary, but at the same time, in the same breath, you can't not do a type of fighting in the street that we don't lead towards it more, but at the same time, we need to know it. We always believe in the philosophy of American Jiu-Jitsu is I need to know it versus not know it. So it's a little contradictory to a lot of the other techniques that we teach in one breath, but in next breath, it's something that I would not feel secure within my system, not teaching it, because it's a way of changing levels on that larger attacker, or the terrain of the ground is slippery or wet, and we end up going down to the ground, okay? So it's not grappling, it's going with a punch that's coming at us and changing levels. All right, so the first one is off of a high punch, okay? With this technique, we're gonna bring the person over to the belly. We're gonna deliver an ox jaw right to the person's groin, which is gonna hunch that person over, and then we're gonna go down and take this person down to their belly. So from the high punch, from here, boom, he goes down, continues to go down, takes his legs, takes the person out, and then from here finishes the person off. Striking from here, also has that leg lock in his midsection. Okay, so let's continue on this. We have a few of these techniques to show you. The next one is a punching block. So this is a punching block because we see the punch coming, and instead of, a block means not getting hit. A block doesn't have to mean to make physical contact. It means if we can duck, if we can move, or we can strike. So this is a punching block. And then we do very similar to what you just saw, taking the person down in the direction and changing our levels. So on this technique, he punches, comes around, continues to go down, and takes that person and locks that ankle here again. Okay, now the person's coming at us more of like a trained fighter. The person comes at us with a jab, and with the jab, we're gonna take advantage of that left leg being forward. On this one, okay? So as the person comes at us with that jab, parries the block, drops down, takes that leg right out, rolls to his side, can strike to the groin, can strike to the face, and then kick her away, okay? Now, if the person lunged at me or almost even pushed at me with the right side, we're gonna use what we call a reverse punch. So she pushes, he uses that reverse, goes, and now takes the rear leg out, okay? So on the prior technique, the person was coming at us more of a trained attack, and we took the front leg out. This time, the person's leg is dragging back. So a lot of times when people say, what if the leg isn't forward? What if the leg isn't back? Always remember that when teaching jiu-jitsu, it's like pieces to a jigsaw puzzle. Until you've been around this long enough, you realize that, and you realize that one technique doesn't base how it is that we fight, and it does not make jiu-jitsu, all right? There's so many, there's over 3,000 techniques, and we don't even know how many variations. As you can see with the amount of tapes that I put up from the beginning, there's a lot of techniques here, but the more you put the pieces to the puzzles together, the more you start to see it as your lifestyle. So we never, there's no magic secret. Growing up in the martial arts, I've been doing this since I'm 10 years old, I'm 61 now. I always wanted to believe at one point there was a secret, there was a technique. The secret and the technique, the secret is not to quit. The technique is the system. So a lot of times when people hear about American Jiu-Jitsu, we have a lot of comparison sometimes on the Instagram or Facebook world where they say, don't call it Jiu-Jitsu because it's not Jiu-Jitsu. You gotta understand something, especially all you young people that are saying that to me. I started my training in 1969. There was no such words as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu back then. It might have existed, but it wasn't here in America. Okay, when I first started training this art, and teaching this art and training in this art, people had no idea what it was. They always said to me it was judo. As the years progressed and the UFC came and Hoist came and they all started the UFC, now people started to become familiar with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But even today, people are confused about that. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a wonderful art. Many of my friends are championship fighters. We love it. We support it. I was one of the biggest promoters in New York. American Jiu-Jitsu has been around a long time. And American Jiu-Jitsu is combative Jiu-Jitsu. It is not, by by no means a competitive style. So when people say to me, take that word, don't use jiu-jitsu, you know, it's confusing people. It's confusing you because you don't know the history. The history is Brazilian jiu-jitsu, beautiful art. It's not what we teach. You don't see any grappling done here, all right? American jiu-jitsu combative, we taught at the Pentagon, we've taught at West Point, we've taught many law enforcement agencies, pretty much all of them, because our style is a combative style of jiu-jitsu. So I want to say this on this part of the video because I want you to understand that we're not trying to compare ourselves or even parallel ourselves to another art. We're a very specific art, but we're not a bunch of techniques on a piece of paper. We're a system. Like I said, it's a puzzle. And when you put it all together, you have American Jiu-Jitsu training, okay? So the next technique now we're going to deal with is if that person came at us and maybe your arm was hurt or occupied and we couldn't use the hand, so now we're just gonna take that person's momentum, use our knee to drop into their knee and bring them right down to the ground. So as the straight punch is delivered, from here, drops down here, bang, hits into that leg, comes down and finishes that person off. These are not the only techniques that we have. These are some techniques that we have. So again, never sit there, you know, it's like when a person's a wonderful singer and you go, oh my goodness, they're such a wonderful singer. Then they hit a sour note and you're like, oh my gosh, they're no good of a singer. That's not true. If you're singing live, no matter who you are, it's another one of my little hobbies. Sometimes you're great, sometimes you're okay, but you gotta look at the person from the overall system. So this is one technique that we do because if we went down to the ground or our hands were occupied or we had something in our hand, that we can go down with the momentum that we could and not just stand there and allow a person to beat us. Now, this next technique is a technique where a person throws a double punch at us. They're gonna throw a left high punch and a right low punch, and we're gonna, well, let me show you what it looks like and I'll talk your way through it. So she throws a punch, he blocks 1, 2, from here, strikes from here, and knee strikes right here. But now as he knee strikes, the Kathy starts to go into Sensei Billy, so he takes the leg, brings it over the head, brings him right down, and finishes off with a strike. So let's look at that from the other side one time. It's not a sensational move, it's a realistic move. Again, from here, 1, 2, the right, from here, knee strikes, but now she starts to work in on him. He takes it, brings it right overhead. Where the head goes, the body follows, the leg is acting, and he's being kind and taking you down, but he could take that leg and just literally like a gauntlet. When you hit the back part of the neck with your hand or especially your leg, you're gonna probably knock a person out. I've done it many times before, and again, if you're a non-believer, you're welcome to come down to the dojo, and I'll be glad to hit you in the back of the neck and see how you react from it. Okay, next technique. One of my favorite. Person's coming at us with a lunge, whether it be a punch or a knife or a weapon. We're gonna parry it, we're gonna strike with that ox jaw right to the person's face. We're gonna get behind this person and we're gonna use that bear claw and rake that person right down to the ground. From here, boom, bang, big strike. From here, bang, take the person down. Again, a question that's asked sometimes. You hit that person with that ox jaw, it's gonna shut them down, or what if it knocks it home, if it knocks the person out? If it knocks the person out, go home early. That's fine, okay? Bullets in a gun, like I always say. When you're learning jiu-jitsu, American jiu-jitsu, every one of the techniques could be the ending, but I'm never gonna give you just enough. I'm gonna make sure that you have plenty of techniques to finish this person off. You might finish them off early, you might take it to the very end. That depends on you or the attacker that's attacking you. All right, so now we're gonna take the same technique. This is actually bringing some of my traditional training in from Shota Tanemura, Grandmaster in Nippon Jiu-Jitsu, Kokusai Jiu-Jitsu, that I wanted to include within our system. I have little remnants from all the different masters that I train with, Wally J, Master Di Pasquale, Master Melvagno. I try to put within American Jiu-Jitsu little remnants of systems that I come from for the respect to the history. All right, so this technique is referred to as an Emoto Takedori, similar to what we just did, but now we're gonna use a wrist manipulation to what we refer to as a Shodan to take the person down. In itself, in this system of Nippon, they actually name the techniques according to the whole movement. So this technique is referred to as a Emoto Takedori. All right, so the straight punch comes out. From here, he takes the hand, puts that Shodan, brings him down, and then takes the knee and puts it right on his shoulder, on a bicep, and brings it down. Let's just show that with the knee on the bicep too. So again, hold right there, uses the strike to the body first, strike with the wrist, boom, uses that Shodan, brings the elbow down to the ground, the body follows, and watch how he just takes the knee and drops it right there on the bicep. Now, again, you don't have to do that, but because we're trying to respect the lineage of it, that's the way it was showed to me by my grandmaster many years ago from Nippon or Kokusai Jiu-Jitsu. So, Otomoku Tekadori is the name of the technique, has a lot of history to it, and it's one of the things that I added to the American Jiu-Jitsu system. And now we're going to do from my Hakaru Jiu-Jitsu is Hiji Matikomi, okay, which is a bending arm bar, all right, where the person is going to throw a low punch. We're going to strike from here to this bridge of the nose, and then we're going to come up, scoop it, what we might call a hammerlock technique or an urigarami, into a Hiji Matikomi. So from here, as he throws, you have boom, strikes, come underneath, and rips that arm right off, okay. Those are your Nidan Ippons at second degree, okay. These videos are posted every day on American Jiu-Jitsu Facebook, American Jiu-Jitsu LI Facebook group page, American Jiu-Jitsu LI YouTube, and also we have video, on our website at AJJ Centers. We have Zoom classes every day, 7 days a week. You can get the Zoom codes. If you need the password, email me at osenseijoe@gmail.com. I'll give you the password to get into some of those meetings. That is dojo trainings. Like I said, I think we have more days behind us than we have in front of us. I think we're going to be opening up soon. I can't wait. And again, these are reference videos. They are not really, we're not focusing on every little wrist manipulation. You need to come down to the dojo to do that. If you like what you see, come down to the dojo. If you have a question, come down to the dojo. If you don't like what you see, come down to the dojo, okay? We'll show you what the system is all about. We believe in what it is that we do. Our belief is not to spread violence or fighting. Our belief is to spread the right to be able to defend yourself. In today's world, with everything that's going on, you need to know how to defend yourself. The longer this goes on, the more anarchy there can be out there, and you want to know how to protect yourself and your family. So please view our videos, like them, subscribe to them. Hopefully we'll see you in the dojo real soon. But in the meantime, stay home, stay healthy, stay safe. Again, I want to thank Shion, Kathy, and Billy. We practice our social distancing. We live apart. We see each other just to make these videos, but without them, I couldn't be doing this. So I want to thank them for that. Have a safe day, and we'll see you on the next tape.